why is it a secret? Like, why are people not talk about how much money they make and what are they going to do with it? Why is it in America you can actually put net worth after your name and something will pop up there, and no way will it pop up here?
And,
why?
And isn't it also interesting that in America, that even at the top 0.0111%, none of those people are cash rich.
And when it comes to the sectors that are just like you rightfully pointed out, if it's anything, it could be aluminum that we become. A lot of people far away from Bahrain know this because they see it from a bird's eye view. They can really give you the in a nutshell kind of look or summary of what Bahrain is capable of offering to the world. But there's a lot more history that we have lost.
We're not recognizing. Society.
Yes, we're not recognizing. The fact that we had this position and rightfully so, strategically as a geographic location. Why is it not being used and recognized to this day? And really becoming something that resembles the past, and it's a shame to start thinking, we gotta look to the past, to realize
the future,
the future. But it could be, I don't know. It could be the case where a nation of pride. We always say we are the firsts. There's all these firsts.
The pearl of the
oil, all of this tendency that Bahrain is a place to be, is unfortunately now we need to look a bit harder so that we can bring this to play.
I could see Bahrain turning into Singapore like in the 70s. Singapore was the trading hub of the region, of all of Asia. I could see Bahrain returning to the point, under the Roman Empire, Bahrain 2,000 years ago was a trading facility, a great port to
the right logistics.
Exactly, that's where all the where's the money when you're selling goods? It's in the ports, right?
It's
the handling of those
moving
feeds
around,
and moving around. And that Amazon has come out and said they're moving their facility from the UAE. Why not Bahrain? It's a fantastic island. You've got a lot of shipwrecks. You can put a lot of places here.
A lot of jobs. And
you can distribute all over the region, right? I mean, this is what more do you want?
Absolutely. I mean, it could go hand in hand with the AWS situation where we had a lot of positivity when it came to that being signed, that contract being signed. And I still recall to this day, I had colleagues of mine, ex-colleagues, that got their jobs with those guys, and you would always say, wow, well done, good for you, that's a great opportunity, let's see more of this. So that, like they say, it allows families to be raised. People can end up settling down, and this is where we come back again full circle to the residential side of things. It's like, is it oversupply or was there a plan? Okay, build them and they will come, right?
That's a movie quote, by the way.
There you go.
From the 1997. That's
exactly.
A movie quote.
Exactly.
But we quote it like it's the Quran.
Right? I mean, in the end, that's what Dubai did. And were they wrong? No. They were right.
But
they set it up in such a way, and they were adamant that this is going to work, or they're being bullish.
25 years ago, Dubai was just nothing.
Yeah,
there was nothing.
I still recall going through the gates, and I still remember the name Dubai on top of the gate, and you're literally going through. It's like a dream. You're going through this gate, and it's just one road, and it's not much. You know, you got the World Trade Center. It's very strategic though, very smart. Yani whatever was already set up there from the 80s was set up for a reason. And it was a concept that the leadership was relentless when it came to executing the plan. We are beautiful, I have to say. Every time I come back from any trip I take, no matter where I go, when I come back, that trip back from the airport, every time I say, thank God I am Bahrain, I live in Bahrain.
Tatah.
Wallah. And it becomes this feeling where you're always like, thank God, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. But at the same time, you always want more. We're human beings. We always want the best, we want better, we want more. We want to make sure that our, kids, or let's say even this generation, the teenagers that are gonna graduate or they're gonna finish their college degree, what's the situation?
Where are they gonna go?
Exactly. Maybe we were far, like I'm speaking for myself, I've been far removed from the setting when it comes to starter uppers, and I feel that I myself have a tough time securing and keeping a job. So imagine how it would be like for a fresh graduate who doesn't have any experience, who will rely on the system to make it or break it.
Interesting that you bring this up, because we had somebody named Ahmed. He works directly with Tamkeen.
Nice.
And he told me the story and what it is on the flip side.
Yeah.
Because everyone
you need to know, you need to see it.
Exactly. And he said, Shuf, all these people come and say, Tamkeen should do more. Tamkeen should do this. Tamkeen should do that.
Fine, but
and who God, Shuf, we're not manna from heaven.
Exactly.
We don't have unlimited cash. Number one. Number two, there needs to be a business model that actually has a cash flow.
Absolutely.
You cannot come to me and say, listen, I
have an idea.
10 years ROI is going to be 100x and all this kind of stuff. حلو فكرتك, but give me something real. What can I hold?
I remember applying for a grant. And it was I think it was the first few years of when the program that Tamkeen had was launched, and I had a business model that I wanted to present, and the plan,
let's hear it. Maybe we can find the investor.
Sure,
let's hear it.
The plan was that I wanted to, and this is a very I would say a patriotic
idea.
initiative, right? It was at a time when we were facing, as a country, a lot of backlash, and there was a lot of issues. This post 2011, we all felt it. We wanted to do something to make it better. We wanted to position the country. There was a lot of
angst.
The image, right? And you're actually pegged to this. Okay, so I set up a network, and I thought that this network would be the right modality to spread positivity and get the economy going in the it would be going in the right direction, but you can kind of shed light on where it's,
I understand where you come
from.
Right? Yeah.
So I told the guys, listen, now we have. I still remember I was on a conference call with the guys, with Tamkeen, and they were in this panel or they're trying to decide, whether they can give me the grant or not, whatever. So the only issue from the technical point of view, was in they cannot actually support the product, but they can support the creation of the product, right? That's it. Okay, I had magazines that I wanted to print, and I wanted to have the spread in such a way that it gets plastered everywhere. Yes, the online is there, and obviously that's where everybody's headed now. But back then, there was still that tendency in that you want to trump any of the other publications that were out there that we're talking about the other countries, or let's say the neighbors, but not much about Bahrain.
I agree with you, and I will take it even a step further. We have this fight a lot internally. I believe that old media gives authenticity, makes it real.
Everybody thinks that. Everybody thinks. Look, I'll tell you honestly.
Yeah.
When you put out, when you have a post, okay, on any of the.
I like how we're both honest immediately.
Right? But it's very different than when you put out a press release that is authentic, that actually takes from the mouth of the horse.
Exactly.
The quote, what the message is, what's the
what's the statement?
Statement.
Exactly.
What do you want to get out of it in the end, right? This has to be there. This is the authenticity of news that goes out. And Tara, by the way, the US, they continue to want to keep newspapers and magazines alive. Why? Because that's really where the news comes from. And the digital frontier, everything online, what we're doing right now in a podcast, that's there. That's beautiful. That's amazing. That's a lot of knowledge that's being shared. A lot of people benefit from it. But what I'm trying to bring forward is the positioning that needs to be had when it comes to why do they when on social media when they verify an account, you have to go to publications.
Thank you.
Right?
Exactly.
So what's that mean?
Exactly.
That means that the source of your authenticity is not the social media accounts or the digital marketing management or the websites, it's the publications that actually
matter.
Spend a lot of money to put out stuff like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Day in, day out. So what happened was in the end, I was focused too much on the product, which granted that's what's supposed to have happened in the first place, and they were focusing more on the process. So, and I didn't care much about the process. I wanted to outsource everything. So they're like, we can't do that. Come back when you have
local talent. Where are you going to find local talent?
No, not only that. I imagine you have an idea. Okay, you know how to acquire what's needed to get that idea into reality. To actually, transition it into reality. And let's say you need to use Alibaba and all these different nice suppliers from China to get a mold into a product. And then, why is it that this concept cannot be
duplicated
supported? Imagine it can't be supported. Then in the end, you're the company that will flourish and make it possible for more jobs to maybe eventually in-house things, but you're not doing that. That's not being supported. That kind of case will be thrown out. So you sometimes end up not looking at the big picture. You're too wrapped into the details of things that you end up realizing, and the details have taken over what the rationale was in the first place. So the whole concept of you creating and building, and it makes things not possible because you're so fixated on the policy.
And the pressure that comes on top as well.
And the pressure that comes on top. That's it.
Yeah, it's very weird because it's in one end, they desperately want businesses to succeed, be a global, enterprises, be, these huge names. At the same time, hey, don't be too big.
You know, and you realize, and because of the controversy, you actually physically feel tired because you can't keep on switching directions. My employer, I used to handle the comms side of things. Okay, the company didn't have at the time social media. We weren't familiar with
the concept.
The concept. What ended up happening was we realized that we could have used it in such a way, the network, the channel, the access, the communication could have been handled in such a way that would have made us the number one company in that sector, niche. And we didn't, and we ended up not benefiting in any way by not being part of the firsts. So we started learning, and we started realizing that whatever we were afraid of, whatever we were worried about, it wasn't even there. Who cares if they say a few things about?
You remove it and khalas.
That's it. You know, I still remember just a couple of weeks ago we had a report produced on the market, and it was like a periodic type of report, which is very useful because you can really look at what's going on now, or looking at what's been going on for the past couple of months or something like that. So you can take action accordingly and figure out things, based on that.
KPIs, yeah.
That's it. We had some feedback from professionals in the field saying, doubting the credibility of this report. So what? Let them doubt. So at least you wrote it.
Exactly.
At least you published
There's
it.
still content. Exactly.
Let them, yeah. So in the end, the content, like they say, is king. Yeah. If we weren't sitting here and talking now.
We'll be sitting over coffee and doing the same conversation.
Doing the same thing, but not being able to share it with anybody. That's the thing. That's where you end up being a big part of this community and leaving something that you could be proud that you're going to be leaving behind. And now you actually gave a lot of, you shared a lot of knowledge, and people will appreciate that if they don't right now. I'm always a big advocate of lecturing and trying to offer my experience and my knowledge, and try to, as much as possible, give back. And this is the way I give back. This is really the way that I would actually like to position myself when it comes to the 25 years experience that I've had in my professional life, let alone the time that I might have also added before that in my education side of things, which is also a very big and important aspect that everybody is going through. So, yeah, taking for example financial stability. Okay, is there a course? Is there like a program? Is there a curriculum that teaches that? It's very difficult to find it.
Schools don't even teach you how to be independent financially.
What's the value of money?
Exactly.
So
how to invest.
How to invest. What to invest in. Why do you need to save? What does retirement mean? Why should you be choosing a certain career over another? And blah, blah, blah. A lot of things that are in the psyche, but not being taught anywhere. Except if you go after it. If you actually ask. And if you try to find it.
Sure.
So this is a very important fact of life, and we need to be able to share knowledge. Why is the searching of content when it comes to this part of the world nowhere close to the way that searching for content in the West possible. يعني if I want to actually look for stuff on Google, forget the language. Let's say إن احنا we're bilingual, we have English.
We're screwed anyways. We're talking English, so we know.
We already
screwed.
are speaking. يعني, you know, my kids are also all the time speaking English, and the education. It's.
I can show you my analytics, and it's mostly US.
There you go.
And we target Bahrain.
This is what I'm saying. I come from like Western education, but that's because it's.
It was what it was.
Possible E. And not only that, I still remember the libraries that we had, and the way that you would be able to lock into a system that gets you such amazing statistics. يعني there was, I can't remember the name of the system that was used in college years, but there's so much that you can get out of it. Like, you know, the age groups, demographics, this, that, and it's so useful for market research, that if you wanted to launch a product or a service, you're in the right place, because you will be able to tap into, give me the right way to do that here, and I'll tell you it's virtually impossible.
Even in Bahrain, if you want to look at properties on what is the ROI, the only way to do it, if anyone's listening who's interested in it, Dan, can you open it? It's you have to type in Property Finder, then on Google search, then 2021 or 2019, and then you have to type in index. Because it's
and it's outdated.
Wait. There, Gulf Business November 2020.
You see the second result?
Yeah.
That's the second result is what I was talking to you about.
Isn't it crazy?
Is what I created.
Oh, mashallah. Can you go back and open the link for us? Second link.
But you see, and this is, Anna, I am far removed from it now since it was launched. But this is what I meant when I was talking about being patriotic and trying to put a very positive spin to the image of the nation and the country and the economy, and getting it out there. The SEO, this is how old, if we can go
2021, 1 year about.
Okay, so it was a year ago.
And it's the first search result.
أنا personally, I've been for a long time removed from this. I couldn't. I had to switch back into my existing career and keep going and pushing harder. Lena, to be honest, even when it came to the feasibility, it was not
worthwhile.
Couldn't put
sustainable.
It wasn't sustainable. Looking at statistics when it comes to making any kind of decision in life, okay, every time I search in any facet of life, you will find stuff that is not related to us. Maybe not even look like us. So where can we put some, positive, kind of.
Everyone's worried about being infamous, Habibi.
It's true. I agree 100%.
Nobody wants to do the data analysis. No, there's no universities who has researchers who's sociologists who's saying, hey, you know what? Let's go and index.
This will work. This will actually help.
Exactly.
If we create this index and get it out there and get people to keep. I don't know if it has to do with support, or if it's just something that people can't carry on doing. I don't know. It's a sustainability scenario. I don't know.
We don't even, we don't even know what the average income is.
A lot of information that we don't have. A lot.
Because if you ask our boys, it's 500 BD. If you ask Temkeen, it's 1,500 BD.
True. The same thing that I started to realize is maybe this could be a big thing, but what is even more unique is when I start talking about the everyday Joe kind of scenarios, right? So, like, for example, why get a job? Okay. Because,
you got to feed your family. Yeah.
All right. Why can't it be something that you want to set up in your own way? Okay. Why do you have to follow a certain trend? Okay. There's so much that can be covered here. And I love the fact that, we're getting some nice programs coming up these days, B-Bond, these guys. And how they end up, showing in entrepreneurship is important. Okay, it's important for the economy. SMEs amount to 70% of the overall, economy itself, and so on and so forth. But there's something personable that needs to be also brought forward. Yani you need to give this sense of comfort in when there's a lot of talk about, things are down, we don't have enough footfall, how am I going to open this restaurant, I can end up failing and losing a lot of money that maybe I don't even have, or I would owe people, and that kind of thing. It gets scary, right? So this kind of topic, it's important. It's important for all our lives, and you have to be serious about this. How are you going to make your money, and what are you going to do with it when you make it? Why is it a secret? Like, why are people not talk about how much money they make and what are they going to do with it? Why is it in America you can actually put net worth after your name and something will pop up there, and no way will it pop up here?
And,
why?
And isn't it also interesting that in America, that even at the top 0.0111%, none of those people are cash rich.
True.
All of them are heavily leveraged.
Yes.
On either property, or stocks, or bonds, or whatever.
Or they actually have tie-ups that
exactly
put them in a position where, if the net worth is it would be like a big portion of it in relation to an affiliation that this person would have, like owning or being part of this group, or that, that's worth this much, and the valuation,
absolutely,
and all of that,
I know close to billionaires who are so cash poor who cannot afford to pay dinner. Can you imagine
that?
Imagine.
It's crazy.
they're so leveraged.
I know, right?
That they're like, listen, I would love to buy dinner, but I don't have the cash.
Elon Musk said it when he was actually starting up PayPal, or I think that the time that he couldn't afford rent.
Yeah.
And
Isn't
he's
that amazing?
the richest man in the world now. Richest, not one of the. It's very important that we should, kind of break out of this, I got mine, you got yours, none of your business kind of scenario. No, it has to be, it's collective. Money is not earned individually. I can't earn money if it doesn't have something to do with other members of the community.
Well, we've got issues that in this region in general, other than the Saudi fund, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of bonds available. There's few, but not very hot. I think Bahrain is rated as a double A bond, I think, here. You don't really have any real index funds. Most of them are tied to the US index.
That's true.
Most of them are tied to the US funds. So you need to have these basic stuff here, and you really need to educate the population saying, listen, because property is a little complicated.
Yeah.
Here in the US and the Western world, you can use your property to claim back on your taxes.
Yes.
And you can also leverage it.
Yes.
Which then you can use as potential other cash flow properties. But here in the region, it's not very easy to leverage your property.
They still link it to the owner's
name. Yeah.
Name, which also then gets pegged to the pay slip.
Exactly.
Which has nothing to do with the property.
Exactly.
What's your salary? I was like, I'm talking about the property here.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about where I work,
yeah.
or whatever. So that
These things need to happen, need to change.
And the financial sector versus the other income situation, where, let's say, for example, you don't have a full-time job, but you own a lot of property. Okay, the banks still won't
some cash flow.
Fund you, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because there is no room for other income, let's say, section to be filled. Saudi got through this, and they created a section in the bank's forms to have an identification of
non-direct income.
Income. And they actually redefined it. So rent, if you're receiving rent and you own the property, that can become part of
your
income bracket. So all of this becomes something that you could actually use as statistics, because in the end, the CBB, for example, can issue annual or semi-annual report stating the things that are provided to the bureau from the banks. And now, we have this number of accounts open. These account owners or holders have this type of income. It all becomes collective information that the entire audience can benefit from. And then we can start talking about number crunching and information that could be of great use for us, and how we can get this foreign direct investment and so on and so forth. Other than that, there's nothing else we can do except dream or imagine, and that could take you to a nice rosy kind of setting, and maybe you could then make yourself feel that things are on the up and up. But are they really? Are you actually getting the cash flow for your business the way that you should, with the number of years that you've actually put in, and how much effort, and what your target is? And just like you said, the demographics is not even here.
Well, at the end of the day, Bahrain doesn't want to be Greece. You don't want to have a population of 10 million people in the country, but 100 million outside the country, right? You don't want to have your best and your brightest leave the country, from brain drain and going to more preferential countries like the US or Europe or wherever, right? Because it's very hard, especially somebody who leaves in their 20s or 25s, to come back in their 50s.
Yeah.
Because they've already settled a life, they've got a family, they've got connections there. It's very hard
usually
to bring
what
those.
doesn't happen. Yeah,
exactly.
It ends up not happening, and then people end up just not coming back.
Yeah, and they just come back for Isla vacation.
That's it.
What's it? Khalas.
But I think generally we have always looked at the truth in a way that is fed to us, okay, and what is rosy is obvious. It shows, and it's positive. It's nice to see, nice to hear. But that doesn't put the business plan in place when it comes to starting up companies. And I always start thinking about, like,
you can't move forward if your head is in the sand.
That's it.
Right?
And also, if you don't, then somebody else
will.
And i.e. the neighbors and the rest of the world. So you will be left behind, and you will continue to feel that you're not doing enough, and that you've missed the boat, and that blah 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 blah.
Saudi is building the biggest aluminium company in the world at the moment with the US hand in hand. So, and it's
imagine that
it's Sharqiya. It's an hour away. It's an hour away.
We need this now. Like, we've always needed it, but we need this more now. Technology is starting to really impact positively and negatively. But on a positive note, yes, it's easier for us to get things done, right? But in a negative way, you feel that you are not utilizing it to the fullest extent. You can imagine having a job and saying to your boss that I don't feel like I'm utilized enough. What would that make you and your boss feel? And it's not sitting well. It's definitely not sitting well.
Well, your boss doesn't like it if you're too productive either.
True. That is true. That is true. But in the end, if you actually are considered to, funnel through all your effort and it pulls in with everybody else and we all win because of that. Yeah, let's say, for example, you set up a company and this company becomes a global phenomenon. I will benefit even if I don't know you, because I live here.
Sure.
And the country in which this business has, it's a stakeholder.
Yeah.
As a stakeholder, I do feel that, and I'm going to get a lot of positive impact when it comes to, you having a company that is thriving.
Sure.
I can give you services. I can get you. I can work with you. I can, a lot of.
Maybe your child works for us, or maybe
in the future.
maybe one of your bosses, or maybe whatever.
I want to survive.
Whatever. Yeah.
Right. So if I want to survive, I would go to where the action is.
Don't you find it interesting though, in this region specifically? I see this a lot, in that people love duplicating. Look at all the coffee
businesses. It's the way that it's become very, very cutthroat.
Yeah, right. It's so weird.
And you don't understand. I think it's, ultimately, there's not much that you can do, right? So if you see something and it works, you're like, oh, I want to do that because it's working. So I'm gonna copy it, And if I copy it, maybe I'll do it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's nothing else I can do, so I might as well do that. So that's a trend.
Yeah.
That's really the culture, and the culture being something that is very touch and go. But if imagine I created a product. Okay, very rarely do you see people actually creating products here. Okay, imagine I created a product, and this product can be anywhere. It's global. It can reach anywhere. It can be sold anywhere. And I make it in a very efficient way, cost effective, and it's beautiful, and it meets the requirements. And I get on Amazon and I plug it in and I make sure it reaches the right audience, and I set it up in the right way. I don't think anybody will be able to copy me. Lana, it is so complicated and so difficult to do. And it's not a Me Too scenario, because you're creating a product,
I wish, Habibi, I wish people thought like that.
See what I mean?
Wallahi, I wish. The amount of people, I told them, either different concepts or projects that what we have in the timeline. We're moving from doing one production show to 3 productions.
Nice.
We're doing a financial show full time. We're interviewing a guy named Sultan.
Nice.
A trader here who's going to do a daily news segment like Bloomberg almost.
Beautiful.
And then we're also doing a female-oriented show, which is going to be with a woman host, and it's just going to be about women's issues and stuff like that. Very, I'm touching base.
Niche, yeah.
And let them be. And the interesting thing about it is that just from friends of friends, people have come up to me and said, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking of doing something like that." I'm like, "Okay,
have at it." You went through the time and the process and the effort and all of that to get this started. They didn't. They haven't.
It's crazy.
They just don't want to think about anything else except if it's successful, they want to copy it.
It's crazy.
But they won't realize until they start going through the process and they realize, oh my God, this is very difficult.
Forget it, from the perspective of the equipment that you need. Forget about just that, but just training people to make sure the timelines are key.
The continuity, and being able to be relentless in what you do. That's where the effort is put in.
How many taxi drivers do you know who come up to you and said, "Listen, you know what? I'm planning on building villas and selling it and stuff like that." وش انت عارف من ذا الموضوع؟
Exactly.
ليش دخلك انت؟
Exactly.
Take your money, invest it with a guy who knows how to do it.
It's very strange. يعني in the end, we think we know it all. Yeah.
And it's a property that is half finished.
I was at a time when I first got married, and you're talking about mid 2000. Okay, there were no developers like what in high grade proper locations,
Large
beautiful
places.
nice facility and high. There weren't any, and still remember. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? Build. I'm like, what? Leave it for the professionals to do that. Where are they? That wasn't the case.
Not here.
So it's a lot of micro skills and the ability to say me too kind of scenario, and like you said, there are no leave it to the professionals. It's not there. It's just simply not there. Things have changed, and I would say it has a lot to do with the globalization side of things. But having us know exactly what we want to specialize in, that's what I always keep telling my kids. Know what you want to specialize in. Know it early on.
Be the definition of it.
Be the definition of it. And make sure that you take that route seriously. Okay, if you love numbers, and you want to be in
accountant
financial,
or broker
exactly,
or whatever.
Okay, know what you would actually want to advance and specialize in. If you love the it's a biological side of things, or
doctor,
right? All of these areas have a promise. Okay, but if we didn't specialize, if we didn't focus on them, if we didn't specialize, then there won't be any doctors, and there won't be any engineers, and there won't be any accountants. And you don't have to leave it to the academia of things to direct you.
Well, the more specialized you are, the less competitive you have to be.
That's it,
right?
That's it.
Because
that's the ultimate dream. That's what people want to be recognized, or a nation or a community. There are specialized people in different areas. It's not like you know a little bit about everything.
By the way, this is also another thing that's really interesting between these two regions. In the UK, I was offered by Absolute to make a vodka ad for them, and it was about £5,000 for a 10-second ad. They wanted 30 seconds, so about 15K, and the contract was only TikTok.
Nice.
Just alone to have that meeting was 500.
Oh, okay.
Pounds. So just to sit down with me,
just to sit down with you,
talk to me about it, and we have so because my brother comes from the marketing world, that's how I learned from him. And the contracts are signed at the meeting. Like, if you don't take the ideas that we pitched and you like them,
you have your.
You can buy the ideas and then go to a different company who's maybe cheaper, and that's fine. Interestingly enough, price is never so much a debate. Except if you go very, very high.
Yeah, but they'll accept because you are a professional. And
exactly.
They'll accept it and they'll go.
Here, interestingly enough, from people who've come to me and asked me for stuff like that, and I said, "Listen, it's about 2,500 BD," and they said,
"What?
Exactly.
What are you talking about? Are you crazy?"
And then I just know me say this. I said, "Boss man, you came to me.
Are you crazy?
Don't." It's really weird.
What do you know about this cost of? Imagine if you were rude.
So weird.
If you were rude, you would go back to and say, you requested this from me. Okay, I gave you my price, and this is what I can do with this.
This is my skill level,
and time and effort and all of that. Do they believe it? Well, this is the problem. When you are in a culture that respects professions, none of that would be the case.
Sure.
Yeah, because of the fact that we think we know everything, and we are a Me Too community, I will debate your cost, even when it comes to your profession and not mine.
I want to take a contract. That's it.
Right?
That's it.
And then in the end, it's I don't get it.
It's amazing to me. It's really amazing to me because from a larger perspective, you know, when somebody comes up to me and, you know, they say, no, this is too much for us. I go, that's fine. Here are various other people who could do the project for you. I'll give you numbers and I'll give you names. And then more likely than not, you're not going to be happy because you spent maybe half the price or 1/3 of the price, but it's not the end result of what you wanted. Absolutely. But I mean, it's quality costs money. You don't want it, you don't want it.
I mean, in certain cases, maybe you could actually, if let's say it's a favor, okay, and you're doing this as a favor.
That's the worst,
right?
That's the worst.
And the fact is, it usually is done for family and friends, when it's supposed to be the opposite. They're supposed to be in.
They support you. Yeah, exactly.
So in order to support and in order to make sure that you're taken care of and you're on the right track, they love you, right? They're your family and friends. They should be paying you more than what you ask for.
The amazing thing is when I have a client that's for 10,000 or something like that for an advert, or if I have somebody who's a friend of a friend who's like, listen, Hamad, please, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'll do the favor, shuf. Okay. And then always, every single fucking time, it's always more issues. It's always more of a headache.
I'm your friend, huh?
It's always more headache.
So you gotta deal with it.
والله أقول لك
you gotta deal with it.
والله أقول لك ال 10,000 contract, it's maybe 2 corrections maximum, and they're very happy with that. They received and blah blah blah, and they come back in 6 months and all is great. With a guy, with a friend, if you even do it for free, there's
harass
like
you with
10 corrections.
Changes.
And they contact me and they're like, hey, you know, where's the delivery and this stuff, kind of stuff. And I go to them, listen, I'm not in charge of delivery. I'm the owner.
Add it to the scope. Huh?
Exactly. I'm not in charge of delivery. I'm the owner. I've got a team. The team isn't finished yet.
It's a culture thing.
It's crazy.
It's a culture thing.
It's crazy.
And I think maybe I'm not sure if this is a phenomenon that Western educated individuals like us see and notice, like this reverse culture shock scenario. But I have to say that I felt it more when I came back from my studies. I felt it a lot more, and now it's watered down now. It's diluted. It used to be like, what in the hell is going on here? And I just studied for a couple of years, you know. But the way that the life has been set up around me during those couple of years, when I learned a lot and I figured out things that, I would like no way know about if I was here. Okay,
I'm with you.
Right? It becomes a sense that 20 years down the line, 20 years pass. And I still feel the same way. I still feel that, the system needs to be this way. I feel that, the way that we're supposed to be dealing with each other is supposed to be this way. And, I can't change it because, I'm just one guy, it's just constant. I sometimes wish I didn't get exposed.
Yeah. So you just
right?
Be ignorant.
Ignorant and say like, this is the way it is. This is jungle life, like whatever, and then just like manage yourself the way that everybody else is. But I'm psychologically in a worse state because I've seen things around me, and it's tricky.
Especially in real estate, I can imagine the buyer was saying stuff to you like, "Oh, just cut your own commission."
Yeah. And I politely just stay calm, and quiet. And in the end, it's a matter of principle. Whether I should try to from the inside try to like educate. It's literally a day-to-day kind of scenario for me.
Sure.
Every single day. I try to, through social media as well, I try to point out things where, like, let's say there's information that people usually would like to keep, aside.
Which is idiotic.
I put it out. Sometimes people think that it's better not to share than to share.
Stupid.
And I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
You're only hurting yourself. You're only hurting the industry.
You're only hurting the industry. You're hurting yourself. You're not being truthful. People appreciate truth. Being vocal. And I think this is an uphill battle, and I know that I'll continue to try, and this is why I was so keen to be part of this.
Oh yeah,
really, because I really like even the name itself and the way that it's presented and brought up. It's like, let's not kid ourselves. Let's start talking. Let's
be real.
Let's not always put a mask on. It's not possible to live this way. We gotta be able to be open. And I always get criticized, always, especially from the closest of the close. They tell me, Ahmed, you're too open. You're too open. When you talk, it's like everything is at the tip of your tongue. It doesn't matter. Who are you hurting? Who are you hurting? That's the thing. They tell me, you're only hurting yourself. I was like, why am I hurting myself? It's like, they call it sitter, like you gotta conceal, you gotta be secretive, you gotta be, distant. Why? How are we gonna survive in this world if we don't share? If we don't share what we're thinking, if the communication is restricted. Imagine the communication is restricted في أمريكا. Impossible anything happens. No way anything's gonna happen. No way. Their industry.
Can you imagine if Bloomberg wouldn't report the financial news? Because they're worried they might be upsetting Alba.
Yeah, somebody might not like what you're saying.
Yeah, imagine. The Wall Street operating like that.
Imagine. We need communication. Communication is very important.
Well, we haven't. I think what it comes down to it is that we haven't been, in a sense, financially, especially in the markets, punished enough to learn that lesson. Because you remember ExxonMobil, not ExxonMobil, sorry, Enron, right? As soon as you try to hide some of these things,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the world, if not the nation, will realize that this is a
not only did you lose customers' money, not only did you lose a reputation. Worst of all, one of the biggest auditing agents auditing NHGs went under because of you.
Then, in the end, if you always try to
cook the books,
and if you always try to put, like I was saying, a mask on and show a different side of you. And
look at GM.
There you go.
They've gone broke 4 times already, and every time it's a US bailout. That's the only way for it to survive.
I think we are in this time when knowledge is much easier to share, a lot easier to share, and we have a responsibility as grown-ups. We have a responsibility to leave a world that's better than what we
received it. Yeah,
we received it.
I agree with you.
But there's a lot. You want to talk about climate change. You want to talk about the financial sector. You want to talk about real estate. You want to talk about industry. So many different areas that if you simply zone in and take this topic and make it legible, it is very user friendly.
Sure.
You will be able to serve so many people because they won't be able to get that anywhere else. That's obvious.
Do you not see the opposite side of that coin, where you have like Vega? What's the biggest index in the US? Vega bond? No, Vega. Danny, can you look it up?
Like NASDAQ
Vanguard.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Where people know that it's a bubble. Tech is a bubble.
Yeah.
People know you cannot have a stock trading at 25, 30 times the multiple of its earnings. It's not realistic. No. I mean, if your EBITDA is one thing and your multiple of the stock is 30 or 40 times, it's crazy. But greed blinds people. And everyone hopes in the free runner problem. You know, I want to be the last joker. Absolutely. I want to earn a little extra
more, and then just before it
comes down. Yeah.
But the fact is, when you are aware, and when you
that doesn't get taught though.
Right?
No one
this
talks
is the problem.
About this. Yeah.
This is the problem. I know what I tend to try to do is, and it could. Again, I could burn my fingers, I don't know. But in the end, if I wanted to really get to a point where my profession, at this stage, let's say real estate, right? What am I doing to add value? What am I doing? Am I just showing up and, like you said, get my commission and go back home and that's it?
That month taken care of.
Right? The fact is, I don't sleep well at night if that's the case.
Of course.
All of us
of course
might not. And we're not here just to survive or just to exist. We're here to coexist. We're here to be part of a community. We're here to be able to benefit from each other, and we can then when the day comes, we'd say, okay, I helped out. Okay, if anything, I did something.
I gave more back than I take.
I gave more back than I took. Most of the time here, people feel the opposite. People actually feel that their existence doesn't make any sense. Okay, they have religion and they might feel that will solve everything and it's going to be the way to go and so on and so forth. But what about the rest? Even in the religion, it says that you have to take care of each other. How is that possible? Well, when it comes to knowledge sharing, when it comes to the importance of being, how important is a teacher, right? So this is where I feel we can really impact. We can really do something, and people will love it, and people will actually really appreciate it. It doesn't cost much.
Well, I think if I'm not wrong, Rasul Muhammad said that when you plant a seed, a date, you leave it to a farmer. وحتى بالChristianity,
absolutely,
give unto Caesar and give unto what's the Lord's. Absolutely. Right? So I never understood the dakhal with deen and business. I always see these as separate يعني إشغال. الدين معك أنت والله خلاص ما تدخل عليه what happening in
the
community or when you're making business. البزنس is أخيرا الدنيا is what puts food in your mouth.
True. but it becomes very clear
exactly
that you're and they talk neighbors, they talk about so many different relationships.
Absolutely.
The husband and wife and so on and so forth. You need to be able to, if not with your current role or job or business, you need to find a way where such knowledge that you have, how did you get it? I got it after getting more than $100,000 scholarship. Okay, not too many people get that, right? So I want to take that, and they tell me through the scholarship that spread the knowledge. We're gonna let you finish. Go back home, spread the knowledge that you learned or got.
أنت مش خايف على أولادك, if you're not scared on your children, that a hunger for knowledge is so rare. Think about your own office. Think about the community. Think about their friends. كم منهم
they're like la 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 la, So
they're not interested.
You're like, wait. It's like no, I can't hear you. Everything is too loud. Okay, everything is too loud. I can't hear you. I don't know what you're saying. I can't focus. There's a big focus issue now. There's a trend because of lots of things. And
strange, huh? People aren't hungry to learn. It's
لأن you get your
TikTok
phone out
and
of
Instagram.
Okay, like I got my rush. Put your phone back in your pocket. 5 minutes later, pick it back up. It's becoming this trend. But what does that do? That makes you feel and actually become less productive. Okay, do you feel right? You feel sometimes and you wake up in the morning and you're like, no, I'm not gonna look at my phone, because if I look at my phone, I'm gonna be zero productive today. You know, I'm just gonna be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then I end up not even learning anything. And it's become very tricky to grab people's attention and to be able to share something that you feel is gonna really benefit them.
خليني أسويك شيء راح يغير حياتك. If you go on the settings on the iPhone, you can change a color setting.
Yes.
To black and white.
Yes.
And since I've been doing that, mentally I want to look less on my phone.
You feel that it's not cool anymore.
Exactly.
Colors attract
your brain
a lot.
As soon as you turn that off, I swear, I can feel my brain ترتاح.
Yeah.
You know, it's just great.
I even made it a point an hour before and after. So what happens is like an hour, maybe even more, before deciding I'm falling asleep or high, an hour if not two. No, my phone, I don't even know where it is. And when I wake up, an hour minimum after I wake up, I'm not even close to my phone.
My friend taught me this great trick. I don't have kids, thank God, but he has kids. Alhamdulillah, ما دخلني الموضوع. He said to me his best investment so far with his kids was to get a timer حق الكهرباء.
Oh, nice.
حق الواي-فاي. And he says it's set at 8 p.m.
خلاص بند.
Turned off.
It's off.
He has young kid, he's 6-7 years old.
Yeah.
And ما في هوشة. Don't get off your phone. Give me your iPad.
It's done. Oh,
it's
sorry.
Done.
It's done.
خلاص.
Sorry.
مش علي أنا.
بس كيف يعني the rest of the household doesn't either?
So he has like
he
a
has
plug.
It set up in a certain way. Huh?
It's like a plug, and that you can put a time on it, and then you put it with the router.
صح ولا iPads.
Exactly.
But what happens when they get a bit older and then now they have phones?
He doesn't. هذا مشكلة ثانية. هذا مشكلة ثانية.
That's where I am.
Oh,
that's where I am. You know, my
كم
kids
عمرهم
actually,
الحين؟
they're 13 and 11.
صعوبة.
صعوبة. خلاص.
بدأ مشاكل الحين مع teenager أو باقي ما.
It's too much.
والله.
It's too much. The fact is, you can tell, and that they're having it in a much more difficult way than we did in our generation. There is so much going on that is nonsense around them, and that they have to filter through that. In our world, back then, there is no need for a filter. Because there wasn't any information out there anyway.
Exactly.
You know?
And you weren't being recorded 24
hours and being
monitored
وايش والاصحاب وما اعرف هاي. يعني انا الحين ابني صار يستلم, he receives a call like from his friend 6 a.m. Okay, sorry for calling you so early. It's nice and being polite, but man, you're in the guy's world. First thing in the morning. Where's the privacy and being able to like get your head together, that's a problem too. That's a problem. Nonsense. A lot of nonsense.
العاب games.
Nonsense. It's just filling up this
with
cup
mud
will be filled up with just nonsense. Okay, nothing nourishing, nothing useful. Maybe a little bit here and there, I don't know.
صدق حبيبي عمري my sister 12 سنوات هي راح عندي and she said حمد حبيبي I hope you're not a transphobe. أنا قلت
what the hell does that mean, right? Yeah.
I was like شوف أولا you're 12 هذا رقم واحدة. ثانيا do you know what a transvestite is? Oh, I'm not sure, I saw it on TikTok. I said وثالثا أنت عايش بالسعودية ما في trans هنا.
So there's not about being phobic ولا لا.
لا, this is
the whole thing in the first place doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And a 12-year-old should not be focused on whether or not
right?
what's going on with the trans
But
population.
this makes it even more. And why is it that when it comes to I was very happy to see that link come up because when we do that search, when we're trying to find useful information, is when you say to yourself, I gotta do something here. I gotta do something that will make it it might be a drop in the ocean, but it's a positive drop in the ocean. Yani you're doing something that is actually beneficial. Let's take, for example, you want to get a service. Okay. Your service that you need, it's nowhere to be found. And it's very important. It's a very important service that you need. Okay. Imagine on the flip side, there's a team, kids, locals maybe, and they come up with an app or somehow portal or something. They get all of these services that aren't possible to be found, okay, to go in one place and to be very easily presented to you whenever you need them. That's an amazing thing that they've done, and to be honest, they should be rewarded for it, or they should be it should be monetized, and they should get money out of it, and they should be earning a living to make it work, right, and to make it succeed. This is what I'm trying to advocate. Yani, when you need a plumber, when you need an electrician, you're a power outage or something, we still have this problem. We still have this issue, and we can't really find stuff easily. And it's very important to have that. Yani, we need things to be working, and we need things to, at the same time, nourish us when it comes to information, when it comes to knowledge sharing. I'm still flabbergasted when it comes to, not being able to figure out, and I'm past my 40s now. Okay.
لا والله. You don't look it حبيبي.
I just turned 43. I'm fat.
والله فكرت 30.
بس حبيبي. The fact is, until now, I still don't know how to save. Okay. I still don't know how to invest. And I still think that it has a lot to do with my surroundings and my past and where I come from and what I was taught, and what I was constantly thinking what I was taught, because I'm grade wise, I was killing it in university and in school. Well, more so in university. But the fact is, I feel that something
never clicked.
Didn't click. Something happened that made it more difficult for me, and I could consider myself a smart guy, that this is not clear to me. It's scary. At the same time, I decided I would write a piece. Okay.
يعني كتاب?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I called it Financial Freedom.
Okay. تبغى كولا?
Moving forward. But you realize it's a little bit of a stagnation kind of
situation.
Sure. Nothing's changing. It's been years now. What the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? Oh, feeding my kids. Okay, great. Okay, Mohan, right? Where's plan B? So the plan B is to get a portion of what you would usually earn, but you have all the time in the world.
Okay.
Okay. What's time? Time is the most important commodity ever. So trading time is never a good idea.
Okay.
It's never been a good idea. You're stuck. You're actually schooled to get a job. You're schooled to follow this path.
That's what Henry Ford meant when he brought in education modernization in order to create the workforce for the factories. Yeah,
that's it. Why you're smarter than that, right? Okay. What gives? What's the idea here? Why are we doing this?
But Habibi, people don't go beyond their limitation. You know, a man's reach should exceed his grasp, right?
Fine. You dream, right? Why? Like, why do dreams exist in the first place? Like, your mind is going out of its own,
sure,
environment or its own. You try to put things together and you realize, time is everything. It's not money. Money is just a tool. Is time a tool? No. You end up realizing the essentials are actually with you. You actually have them. And for the plan B to be there, you're adding to it. You're fueling it further. You realize, and I'm not saying I'm advocating people like across the globe go on after this kind of plan and enforce it and make sure that that's the way that they should be living their lives. I'm just saying that if you feel that you're stuck and that you went with a certain way of life that maybe it's very traditional and everybody is doing it, so you might as well do it as well. Does that make sense?
Habibi, look at the guy. Can you look up, Danny, who wrote Dirty Jobs, or the TV show Dirty Jobs? He makes a really interesting point. He goes and interviews. I don't think it's a book. I think it's a TV show. Mike Rowe, I think his name is called.
It's a show,
Rowe.
Huh?
Yeah, and he interviews.
That's the weekend program.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Is it on Netflix?
Nah, SF. It's on Discovery Channel, and
it's on YouTube, maybe.
It's on YouTube, and he interviews people who work in sanitation.
Yes.
Roadkill, construction, tough jobs.
Yep.
And he makes a really interesting point. He calls it palpa diem, meaning from Latin, the moment realization happens. And he says, most people don't seem to realize is that when you do really tough grunt work, there's a level of satisfaction that comes after the work.
Of course.
And that most people, who work as plumbers or work as electricians aren't miserable.
No, they're actually happier than us.
They're actually happier than people who are sitting in an office.
Yes. And the people who are sitting in the office are the ones that were miserable.
Absolutely.
And then and suicidal and maybe, feeling
depressed and all this kind of stuff.
And all. But in the end,
and none of them wanted to be electricians.
By the way, that's statistics 101 right there. If you actually sit and say, okay, how many suicides happened last year? What were the
causes?
Or let's say, forget the causes. Let's say, what were the demographics of those people? And you find a trend.
It's mostly
what does that mean? But what does that mean? Like when you find a trend and you realize something out of this, and you figure out, and there's a conclusion here, okay, and maybe there are forces to be that talking about doing your own thing is a taboo, but then again, why is the government endorsing and really supporting entrepreneurs, right? Because jobs aren't even out there. Exactly. You want to be a job creator or do you want to be a job holder?
Sure.
صح?
Sure.
When we talked about a company that would set up its HQ in Bahrain and would allow for countless jobs to be created and so on and so on. You said, at least when you do that, you can rest assured that the next generation will be sorted.
Of course.
So this is the essentials. This is what we should be looking after. The future, but in a way that we have control over. When you can control, when you actually put the policy in place and you say, okay, I'm gonna spend the next 5 years doing this. And again, time is super powerful and extremely expensive. And if you put that commodity,
I love that quote.
Right? But this is what happens. You realize when you reach to a certain age, and I refer back to what I'm facing. You don't have much time. You realize you don't have much time in this life, and you realize the more it ticks, the more you start realizing okay, maybe I need to speed up whatever I'm doing right now.
Sure.
Midlife crisis, I don't know, these things could come up.
Sure.
And
then you want to drive a Harley Davidson or not yet?
I see. Why do something that really doesn't add value to anybody or to any situation, or right? And you just buy a sports car, or just try to satisfy anything that you experience. But imagine at the same time you start realizing maybe actually I should decide to change my career to become like a lecturer,
I love it.
Train and educate. And why is it that it's important that the lecturers and the professors are experienced and seasoned? And because how would they be able to share the knowledge if they don't have it already? If they don't already if they haven't already gone through it. So a career, academia, or anything that would add value for people, they would end up realizing that this information that they hold, they shouldn't take it to their grave on their own. They should be able to share it with others. They should be able to brighten up the future. So this is what I'm all about. But I'm very skeptic, to be honest. And every time I start thinking about it, I start realizing, maybe
decision paralysis.
Right?
You've been thinking about it too much. That's your problem.
And for too long.
There's that thing they tell buyers, or at least first-time buyers, that you should only look at 3 properties. Because after the third one, you're going to get decision paralysis. Keep yourself to 3 and choose one of them. Khalas. And the same thing applies to life.
A lot of things.
Exactly.
That's absolutely true. And I think you're absolutely right. And
what's stopping you from doing more content?
Time.
لا.
I'm a slave to my.
ما عندك نص ساعة.
I could.
In the car while you're driving.
I can.
I mean, where there's will, there's a way.
I can. No, absolutely, I can. And the fact is, I did, and to prove it, I actually set up something. But in the end, I want to do it. I feel like I want to do it in a like a professional setting. You know, like I wanna do it in a university or some program, and I feel that it's gonna be something really awesome because I can get in front of a lot of people, not necessarily students. They could be professionals.
You want? I can sort that out for you.
Let's do it.
Khalas. We had a professor on from who's the head of science of which university? There we go.
Perfect.
I got the contact ready for you.
Anna, my rationale is I believe in sharing knowledge.
I love that. Yeah.
Right? And imagine if you are good at something. And I'm sure you're good at a lot of things. Wouldn't it be cool if you feel that you're getting to a stage where you need to start giving back? You made a lot of money. Okay, you set your foundation. You are, settled. I would say you kind of feel that you're settled. You don't want to.
Habibi, you're talking to the mirror.
There you go.
Why do you think I'm doing this?
That's what I'm saying. All of these points end up putting you in a position where, you know what? I need to get people to benefit from this. Why are there so many documentaries out there, right? So that people can share knowledge. Yes. And you put it out and you say to yourself, okay, there it is. Okay, if anything, If I die tomorrow, they're gonna say creator of so and so, or you know, this kind of obituary. You know,
Habibi, I promise you, I wake up every day dancing. Bil morning. That's how happy
exactly.
I am. Every night I have to force myself to sleep because I'm so excited.
There you go.
Yeah, and I
live
such the best of the best life.
There you go.
And my philosophy has always been, at least in the world of this, is that I wanted to be the definition of it. I want it to always be the definition. When somebody says that word, my name pops up. That's who I am. That's everything I am. It's that thing.
So we have very similar motivations. Okay.
Yeah.
We feel that, and I always was in the family. I was the talkative one. Okay. I was the one who always would explain things. I mean, I'm an explainer. Okay. And you do that because I feel that I am doing that on a constant basis because I love to communicate. I think it's important that people talk. I think it's necessary that, and thank God we have Arabic in terms of, you know, how complex the language is.
It's dying though, Habibi.
Well, I mean,
sadly.
يعني let's say the fact that Islam is becoming the biggest religion in the world affirms the position of the language. يعني thank God for that. Because other than that, they're probably, you're right, other than that it would probably be dying, completely dying. But imagine you have such a complex language that allows you to express yourself in so many different ways that it has a lot of meaning. And I don't think too much in English. Sometimes I actually think in Arabic. Sometimes I surprise you. I would end up saying something in Arabic and not being able to translate it to English.
تصدق حبيبي, I forced myself الحين من مخي to think in pictures.
Nice.
Because
I think that also has merit.
I try to, especially when it comes to reading. If I visualize it بالمخي as I'm reading the words and I see it like a movie, like a painting.
Yeah.
It's stuck.
Yes.
Khalas, it's in my memory bank forever. And so
that's I remember how when it came to the academia side of things, that's a part of
memorization.
Yes, picture memory. It's very important to have. If you can relate and if you can kind of marry and visually marry ideas together in a way that will never leave your consciousness, you'll always feel you can come back to it. This is the thing. My point is let's take this and keep it in a way that, I'll give you an example. There's going to be another show. There's a show on BTV next week. It's called it's a new series of episodes called Opposites.
Danny, can you look it up? Has it been announced yet or not announced?
I don't know. I didn't check.
If it's not been announced, we'll have to remove it, obviously, for you.
In Arabic, I don't know if it has or it's coming back, or I don't know. But it's called in Arabic. It's called Al-Dad.
Okay. What's the concept?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I was invited to participate next week.
MashaAllah.
It's basically two different ideas. No, let's say one idea, and how to argue and defend that idea. Okay, so you basically got a real estate professional, okay, and then you have a guest who has nothing to do with real estate
but statistics.
I don't know.
Good luck. That's gonna be a hard fight.
I know, that's the thing. No, the funnier thing is they asked me to invite the opponent. Okay. And I had to look, had to really, so
Think
that so I
about
don't get in trouble. I look for someone who's like a little bit on the neutral side. But the fact is, it was a very unique discussion, and if you think about it, and I'm really key, I'm looking forward to it, and we're gonna be talking about all of these things, but we're gonna need to be, in terms of real estate's, I don't know, situation right now.
Be careful on how you express these things.
Of course. But in the end, I have skin in the game. It's gonna have to be positive. Like,
how much money have you got tied up in real estate at the moment? You worry me, Habibi. Wallahi, you worry me.
No, it's a nice plan. Okay. That self funds. Okay, which means that in a short period of time, I think 3 or 4 years, I will end up owning a property that I really didn't pay for.
Okay, so you basically rent it out and you use that rent money to pay for that property. Alhamdulillah, great. And what's the ROI on that? 10%?
Right now, it's like 5 or 6.
5 or 6. So about European standard. Then.
Yeah. Yeah, but so, no, I can tell, and some of the guys didn't like the fact that I lowballed the lease on it, and I was like, "What do you expect?
Do you want to have a
tenant
in?
That's it, exactly. Do you think I'm going to start high and then trickle my way down? I might as well be realistic and know where I stand from now, and just set it up that way.
Get the person in. You're paying your first month. That's it.
And they haven't moved. It's the 3rd year.
Yeah.
And they haven't moved. Despite many things that happened, okay, and despite the fact that there were examples of scenarios where they could have, if I was greedy, they would have gone in a heartbeat.
Can I give you a counter offer? Can you look up S&P 500 and then ROI average? S&P.
I know. I totally understand. There you go.
Between 9% between 2001 to 2021.
I have for this. I'll give you
Down J, we can look it up if you like, or the DAX, which is around 11%.
My take on this is you've got a certain amount that you can put aside, okay? Let's say every month.
Sure.
Systematic, right?
Sure. I like that idea.
Right? So school me as to, if I do put a budget, if I do allocate a budget, as to the approach that you would take with the likes of
how I put
the
my
Nasdaq
money.
and
So you know that Einstein's famous quote, the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. My point with real estate is that it's a great industry if it comes into 3 partitions. If you're using it for leverage, great. Or if you're putting it to DAO assets, you want to just have it in lock and key, great. Or on the third factor, if you're just doing turnover.
Okay.
You get the key, you sell. You get the key, you sell.
Yep.
Those 3 items, real estate makes a lot of sense. From a tax perspective, a 4th one, I guess, would be tax credits, where you can get on multi houses if you have like a whole house. In the West, that makes perfect sense. However, when you look at it from the financial perspective of just owning a property to rent out, your ROI is between 4 to 5%. Inflation is 2%. So that truly leaves you with 3% of return. Then on top of it,
devaluation.
Top of it is devaluation, which is fine if it's taxes, but you don't have corporate or income tax here. You only have VAT tax. And then finally, which is the worst, of that 3%, you still have maintenance.
Yeah.
You still have costs.
Either it's gonna be taken out from that 3% or 2%. Or it's actually going to be in the minus.
Can you type in, Dan, compound interest calculator? I think the second one will probably have a good calculator. First one seemed right. Let's just go stick with the first one. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. So let's say your internal deposit, instead of buying a home, let's say you put it all behind there. Let's say it's 50K. Say your monthly contribution, realistically, is, let's say, about 500. Say your investment time span is, let's say, 60 years. Or 25. It doesn't matter. But let's go with 60. 50 is max, great. And then put your estimated return, put that at 11, 11% is the DAX, minus 2% of inflation. That gives you about 9%.
That's it? Look at that.
So I will never understand.
So if you are initially putting 50K,
so $25,000 BD
dinars, and then just
a monthly contribution of 500, which is
can we reduce the time span?
Sure.
If we can do it,
put it by 25, which is normally a home.
Let's say I want to do it for 25.
25 is how long for 5% for your average
25,
home? Yeah,
25.
I will never understand real estate. I will never understand real estate.
In terms of return, this used to be real estate, Tara.
In certain regions, Habibi. Yeah, of course.
And then we started realizing, oh crap, it's quite dreamy to think this way.
You can get a 9% return or 11%. You can even get a 20% return on investment in real estate, if
even business. But if that's the case,
Habibi, Russia.
Yeah.
Right now, the ruble is down, and if you're willing to bet the house, you buy a nice villa, you buy a nice property right in Moscow or St. Petersburg, and you just, it's a little macabre. Or Ukraine, you buy a nice little plot of land that's currently in a war zone. You hope to God.
Well, this is the thing. There's also a risk factor.
No risk, no reward.
Exactly. To raise when it. To me, it always was one of the safest scenarios. And you have bricks and mortar. You own something. There's other uses for it, and so on and so forth. So, Anna, for me, it was like, I have this plan. Let me take advantage. Let me use it, and it's gonna work out, even if the ROI is low. Okay, with investing, I own stocks. I invested in the Bahraini market.
Okay.
Bahraini market.
Okay. Alba hasn't moved in the Bahrain market in 20 years.
I know.
Only just recently.
It's a lot of buy and hold scenario. It's all based on dividends and increment on that basis. But there's a feeling that with real estate, it's not very liquid, right?
Sure.
This property, for example, it can go through a lot. It can still maintain quite a large part of its value.
Sure.
Okay. This is why I believe in real estate. This is why I think that even with everything that's going on right now,
sure,
even with the fact that we could have another crash,
2008, yeah,
I can still feel that whatever I do, if it's in real estate, it's there to stay.
I agree with an asterisk, which is when you buy land.
Fine.
It's very different when it's an apartment.
Fair enough. Even that, if you look at it from a property type perspective, that starts to then become a more detailed discussion. But in the end, I really think that if you buy property, whether it's land, a standalone development, part of a community, like here, you do something that's really for the future. It's supposed to be done for the future. It's supposed to be thought through as a very long term. You put it here and it's like 50 years down the line or 25 years, you know what I mean? It's not something that you're gonna. Maybe in certain cases, people do feel that okay, I'm here to flip, and make money out of that. In many cases, real estate is not the name of the game when it comes to that. It's a different. It's considered like a tool. And you look at the core of the market, Manama, right? And think of the real estate that's there, Gdebia, these places, they have trade in them. Okay, the Gold City. Do you know that you can buy a section in the Gold City, for 5,000 dinars? It's like it's got its own address card, and you can rent it out. It's never going to be empty. It's always going to be available for the
labor force and whatnot.
No, for the shops. It's inside the
mall.
Inside the mall. They chopped it up. It was so weird. This offer that I got, and you can buy it, and you can always make money out of it because it is the core of the business, which is the gold market, Bahrain's gold city. Okay. Wouldn't that be? This is of course commercial side of things.
This
right?
is very different than
very
the general property.
Yes,
this is
very different. Okay, and I would say it's very solid, easy to flip.
Sure,
you can make a lot of money out of it from income.
It's more expensive generally.
It could be.
By square meter, generally commercial is more expensive.
Crazy more expensive. But at the same time, you're talking about a red address card, which means that you can do business in, and it can be, it is a shop that sells and trades in gold. And you never see anything empty out there. So real estate is a monster. Okay, there's so many different ways to.
What got you into in real estate, anyways? We've been talking for the past hour.
I know.
What got you into it?
I'll tell you. It had a lot to do with the family. Okay, I remember when they used to send me out to go collect. Okay, and I would actually, yeah, right. Literally, knock on doors, rent, please. And I always used to think like, the hell's a landlord? What does that mean? Like, why do we own this property?
What's the benefit?
What's the point? We don't live here. So I started thinking when I was a kid, and okay, this puts a little bit of, position.
Food on the table.
Yeah, and it puts a position like for a certain person, wealth, that kind of thing. And when I got into my first few years of my career, I was adamant in communication is my go-to strength. Okay, and marketing is the way to go. And in my few years of exploring, I realized that whatever I do, it always goes back to bricks and mortar. It always goes back. I started off with telecom for 5-6 years. And then when I got picked up by the banking sector, it was all about real estate. Imagine. Yeah, the banking sector, generally,
they don't give loans to contractors.
But forget
the contractors.
Forget this side of the
construction,
facilitating and owning. They call themselves, they call what they have are land banks. Okay, what do they do with land? They have to develop. So then the next stage is developing.
Interesting.
And then so then what do you do when you develop the property? Or you think about what you need. What does the community want? Okay, and it's a lot of planning, a lot of thinking. Banks usually, take their time when they try to figure out what they do with their
this
assets.
region they do.
Yeah, usually. But literally, what ended up happening was I started getting really involved in the marketing and selling of property in the banking sector. And I was like, what's going on? You know, like, I thought we were a bank, you know? Like, I even thought about, like, why are we not focusing more on retail banking than, you know, the investment real estate banking side? So I realized that the money is really, like, a lot more
Profitable.
profitable. And there's volume as well.
Well, back in the day, you can't even default on your loan, right? This was the good days
That's
of
good
banking. Yeah, people were stuck paying it off or jail.
That's it. Yeah. So from development to development, I realized that I know it very well, and whatever was looked at as trending, it was actually us. It was actually us setting it up. Okay, and right then on, I thought that, you know, I need to specialize in this. I need to actually really know it very well, so that I can come out and say that, okay, who's next? Who wants to know about this, you know, awesome opportunity of you know, making a living and being able to support your family, and then, you know, probably setting up your own outfit. So this is where I am now. Like, when I reached a stage where I could say, you know, almost 25 years of pure effort put in to knowing and learning and figuring and actually practicing big time the you know, the profession of real estate. I could tell you it's an ocean of you know, it's one of the most important basic needs. So obviously, you know, you would have to want to know as much as you can about it.
Of course, I mean, it's natural, right? You know? It's where your bread and butter comes
Absolutely.
from.
You know, you want to know what the rule of thumb is. You want to know what kind of licensing there are. You want to know how it's done.
Your contact source in case something happens. All
Exactly.
these kind of things.
But in the end, just like how you defined it, and I love the way in the break you said, you know, the job defines you, right? Like, who are you if not for your job? Now, if you have a particular job, right? Whether it's 9 to 5 or it's your own business, if you specialize, we go back all the way back to the beginning. This is where economies will flourish. You're a specialized person in a specific area. You're nobody to be played around with. You know the numbers. You've been through the seasons and the trends and a lot of things. Nobody can mess with you. Okay, you will make it. And I only hope that people would actually then, that are in this position, would be able to see it in themselves, to share.
I hear. Yeah. I agree.
So that you then share. Yani, you take what you learned, and in many cases it could be changing while you're trying to teach others. But in the end, it's real. It's real effort that you put out there when you learn something for such a long time, and then you say to yourself, okay, you know, I need to be giving back. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. I'm still doing what I'm doing, but I'm going to put some time aside. Just like you said, you have 5 minutes, you know?
Do a video.
You have 5 minutes.
Do a live video. Talk to them about questions. What are the 3 most asked questions from the supply side?
Absolutely.
You know,
questions can be asked and they could be answered. But again, I really feel I want to do it in a setting that
it's more financial.
I could be. No, I could say I'm not gonna want to get anything out of it. I will put the time and effort in doing it. I've been actually part of a society that
Don't tell me both Toastmasters.
no, it's
Alhamdulillah.
we set up in 2010. We set up a society that caters to the needs for SMEs to develop. So it's the Bahrain SME Development Society, and we now have 5 incubators,
MashaAllah.
catering to almost 600 businesses, and we have around 1,200 members as companies. Okay, I'm not making a single fils out of this. Okay, it's a way for me to give back.
It's also soft power as well.
Yeah, I mean,
you
get
some contacts out of it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's useful.
Yeah, it's good.
Or I can actually provide contacts. I know
Exactly.
what we do is we're like a web, you know, like we're a network, and a business like yours, for example, can set up shop, and our offices are at the Beit al-Tijjar chamber, and you know immediately you're part of a community. Okay, you can do your own thing. You can be isolated and handle things in your own way. A lot of people like to do that. But when it comes to knowledge sharing, when it comes to, like, let's say, you know, the stuff that is support, let's say, for example, the accounting, legal stuff, setting up your team, you know, HR and all that, that could be shared.
Sure.
And there would be training and there would be programs that are provided to you for free.
Sure.
Free, pro bono. Incubators could be also places where you can set up your business with a very minimal fee, as opposed to going out on your own and renting an office space and going all crazy in terms of costs and that kind of thing.
Well, we can talk about it, because I'm looking right now for a warehouse. The problem is in Bahrain, finding a warehouse with an air conditioner
Nice. Okay.
is very difficult. I'm looking for something that's an open floor plan with about 300 to 400 square meters.
Nice. But look at this example.
Exactly.
In the banking sector, believe it or not, one of the projects was in the Had Industrial Park, and we did exactly this.
أي شيء
We
عندك.
did exactly this.
Head tubli أي شيء عندك. Just bring it below 2,000 and I'm happy.
Nice.
That's my only requirement.
Very good. Anna, I think that in the end, if you find, I can.
We'll
help
talk
you.
about it after as well. Yeah.
The idea is, imagine you set it up. Imagine it's a barren piece of land, okay, and nobody's
build
doing
it.
and then you build exactly what you just said on it. It's not even out there. Okay, air conditioned warehouse.
حلو.
Okay, and you have the logistics to the T. You know, the roads, the access, and how close is it, and security, and how close is it to the
highway bad.
And the Sheikh Khalifa port. Everything is on point. I mean, everything is there. Okay, how can you not love real estate? You know, like Anna, for me, when I saw all of that, I was like, oh my God, like you're actually like building something really awesome, you know? And it became more and more my thing. I don't think I was, like, maybe 10 years ago, maybe less, I wasn't defined, or I wasn't recognized as a go-to real estate guy.
As the head, yeah.
You know, I was more in the like media, marketing. You know, I like to write and speak and that kind of thing. But when I'm called by Bahrain TV and like, okay, we recognize you as a real estate professional and we want you to be on this show and this and that, and I'm like, really, you know? And some people even say now, like you're synonymous to property or real estate.
That's it. What you are.
You're
the property man.
That's a property man. Like, how are you going to change that? It's like, I don't want to change that. Or
Mumtaz.
I'm fine. I'm
Mumtaz.
fine being defined this way. you know.
What What do you think about the 3 buildings across here?
Yeah.
Offices. What's happening with it?
So basically, Harbour Heights.
Sure.
We just won an award for the condominium side of things.
Condominium side of things. Okay.
Which basically puts the setting, and you will not believe the amount of people living in the property now.
Okay.
It's around 180 families.
Okay.
Spanning 35 nationalities. The other 2 buildings, one is going to be a commercial building, which is going to be home to HQs that call Bahrain the Middle East hub for them. So like examples,
Amazon,
you can say exactly,
Microsoft,
Huawei,
Apple,
those
Huawei,
guys, right?
Sure. So they're moving from SEEF to that way then.
The ones that would choose to position themselves on a continuous basis in Bahrain is the hub for the Middle East for many reasons. We would like to invite them to be part of this.
Sure.
Part of the
because you're competing with that where the Hilton Hotel is, Amazon's headquarters there. Like they've got some properties there that's being developed.
The thing is, we wanna like we're very futuristic. Like we really think in in the future we're gonna be able to, in the near future, we're gonna be able to attract
top talent,
businesses, talent to high. And then on the 3rd building is a hotel.
Ooh, okay.
You see? Nice mix,
okay.
صح. When you put those together, you realize you have a nice community, you have a nice setting, you're not overly competing, you're not just oversupplying, you know? So you got one nice building, resi, you've got one that's commercial, you've got one that's hospitality, and the dream was to have medical to combine, like a
I like
complex.
The idea. Yeah, I like the idea.
Right, that you want to attract. Remember when we were saying, you want to bring FDI. How are you going to do it? By setting the stage. You know, bring the big names out here. You know, bring the operators that are super
top
well known.
Sure.
Yeah, and tell them, look, Bahrain's the place to be. Set up here. You know what I really liked in my previous role was, you won't believe it. It was Dragon City. Okay. Dream realized. But why was it a dream? You wanted to have a community that didn't exist here.
And it bloody does exist now. Not a single shop is empty.
They are always busy. And you should see the amount of money that's being exchanged here. It's insane.
No, I believe that with it.
It's insane.
I believe it for a second.
I worked at the bank that actually set this up. Okay. And I would be going to the headquarters. I would be actually sitting in the branch, and you'd see those folks coming in with boatloads of cash. Deposit. It's a dream, right? But
Genius.
It had merit. Yeah, you did bring countries together. And you realized that this is possible in all frontiers.
What's also so beautiful is that it's so far away from the bridge from Saudi. They have to drive all the way in.
Absolutely.
And
so they pass by
every location.
Boom, boom, boom. And you get to see, you get to realize, where Tanin, and you're like, really? Like you guys heard about that? So this is how it's always possible to improve our lifestyle, to have a better future for us, for the next generation, to realize that what we do now
matters.
It matters a lot. And it needs to be looked at, and we need to be able to assess it, and there's an analytical side of it, a research side, and then you figure out, okay, this is going to work. We need to now team up. We need to bring in the big dogs, and they need to be able to realize this as well. And when I mean that, I say on a larger scale. it's combined. It's public, private. It's,
we can cut this part out, but are you worried from a perspective of if climate change is real, if global sea levels are rising, are you worried about all the properties that are on the beachfront?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
Of course you wouldn't. Of course, I worry about a lot of
because
things.
it's very flat land,
I'm
right?
a super worrier. Like I have to tell you, like I have this. I do have this problem, and I'm overthinker and I'm over worrier. Like I'm such a over worrier that like I.
At least reef is a good meter above water, right? So you're not too worried about reef.
It's freaky. The whole thing is freaky.
But when you go to like
Everything-
Citra down that end,
Have you thought about how much plastic is out there and how much damage it's caused? There's so many problems that we have. But Anna, in no way do I feel that it's doomsday. No, I have this belief, and we will get through it.
do you know that you eat, or you, me, everyone in this room eat about a credit card worth of plastic every week?
Imagine.
Can you imagine that?
Imagine that.
You know when they Dan, can you show the animal feed with the plastic? This is scary for me, but it must be scarier for a parent.
And then how
They just
the livestock actually don't know what they're hiding.
they just take it from a supermarket, the cardboard and the plastic,
Yeah.
and they put it into a mixer, rotten and old food, and then they just feed it to the baqa, the cows.
And that's what we end up.
Of course, they turn plastic into this pebbles, and then they just feed it to the pigs, the beef, the chicken, everything.
This is why watching that documentary.
This is
This is one of the problems. Like,
yeah.
Of have you seen what is it called? It's basically about plant-based lifestyle. Okay, this here, if you notice how livestock is causing a huge impact on the climate, and one of the main culprits are cows. Right?
Interesting that you bring this up, because this is actually old data. New data indicates that when you're talking about the climate change of carbon emissions produced by cows or baqa is less than 1% globally. Okay. Number one. Number two, when you leave cows bil field naturally, not in a facility, they churn the earth. They move. As they move the earth, that captures carbon in the soil.
Nice.
Right? And on top of all this, on top of everything else, meat, as from a biological perspective of biochemistry, is the most bang for your buck from a health perspective. Especially animals that's fed with grass and not grain, traditional, like you find in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, like all these Eastern blocs where they still live very, very traditional lives.
They don't have, like all the technology and all that stuff.
They don't feed animals plastic.
Yeah.
They don't put them in like
They're not mass oriented.
There we go.
Our problem, and what I meant about in the culprit being cows, or how the carbon emission and all that. It's because when it becomes concentrated and it becomes a factory-like setting,
industrialized. That's the problem.
Meat generally becomes a concern. It's supposed to be something that you would say, okay, this is rich in protein and all of that, but when you start realizing the mistakes that happen because of trying to go for economies of scale, or trying to,
turning into a profit maximization.
Turning into profit. What ends up happening is the flip side. Instead of having a natural, healthy lifestyle, your cholesterol is increasing. Why? Because the type of meat that you're eating maybe have, the type of fat that doesn't work well with us, and so on and so on. So it's not, to me, it was never in watching that
sure.
series ended up wanting me to become plant-based and never eating meat or chicken or fish again in my life. No, I'm not that extreme. No way. You know, I love my meat. I love my chicken. But the fact that I realized the people who are behind the factory-based process,
not good.
Dangerous.
Not good.
Dangerous.
Not good. But
very dangerous.
From a global perspective, it's so scary. Deep sea fishes, you know, like swordfish and stuff like that, is so high with mercury. you're poisoning yourself by eating it.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
But to you also don't know a lot of stuff that you're putting in your body. Yeah, there's all sorts of different scenarios where people end up thinking, and this is a healthy way, and they just kill themselves without knowing. And I again,
exactly,
the age situation, when you reach to a certain age and they start to tell you maybe you need to start going on this pill because of your cholesterol, I was like, what in the hell? You know, like, when did this start to happen? When did this start to become an issue? Like, I was always the healthy person. I was always the athletic, the high metabolism, all of that. And now
cholesterol has no indicator on heart disease.
Okay, that's fantastic.
That's weird, right?
So again, when you say in
can you type in Google no correlation between cholesterol and heart disease? They did a meta-study analysis on it. You have to put no.
Yani if you consider this the issue,
there's just a lot of bad science. Here, study says, there you go, one down. Study says there's no link between cholesterol and heart disease.
Okay.
Controversial reports claims that there's no link between bad cholesterol and heart disease. It's so crazy right now. That was the meta-study analysis that conducted it. Cholesterol is actually used in the body to produce the cell membranes in the walls.
Oh my God! Wow.
but science, especially because it's been so what's the right word? Defiled by business. You have so many business interests.
Oh, the interests.
Paying researchers lobbying, to make sure
and lobbying, and then you start realizing that all of these cases were just to flip a profit.
Profit. Yep.
And the impact that has on health. And the whole idea that this does not matter to them, they just want to make money. And what about human beings? What about Earth?
Maybe just today, Pfizer just told the European Union that there was no link between taking the vaccine and stopping transmission.
Oh my God.
So
the vaccine was just
profit center. It's unbelievable. And the EU has just came out in forward saying people between 18 and 35 should not be taking the vaccine.
Oh my God. And was there something that showed in
it's by the EU. I don't know what else I can give you.
God. Because we were very
pushy.
And at the same time, the person, like I was always saying, okay, like I'll follow the
standard
mandate. Okay. Others close, they weren't. They were trying to like say, okay, we don't know what's in this. I was like, you don't know what's in a pill,
cigarette,
or a cigarette, or even like if you have a headache, you take a Panadol. You don't know what's inside a Panadol. Okay, so why are you questioning this? We're in a pandemic, So like you gotta not be selfish, and you gotta take that injection. Okay, and now what just what happened? Like we're all saying, what did they give us? Is it just to flip a profit, and is it gonna harm us? Or is it to flip a profit and it's not going to harm us and it's fine and we're okay and nothing's going to...
I don't have a problem with any of that. My problem specifically on this issue is that if you take a painkiller medication or any prescription drug and you have a negative reaction, you can sue. You can
Sure,
sue the
sure,
pharmaceutical company.
Sure, absolutely.
You can get something out of it. However, if you took the vaccine, the U.S. agreement has stopped any kind of prosecution. So even if something bad has happened because of it, even if you're one in a billion,
stopped it. They're not going to allow for
not going to allow any
because it's pandemic.
Well, it's pandemic,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's pandemic.
So that's
Force
my
majeure,
problem with
yeah.
it. That's my only issue.
The the signs that you see from that.
You saw what happened with
Danger.
JJ. Jordan, what was it? There was Pfizer, and then there was
Johnson
Johnson & Johnson,
They-
which was taken.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
So weird.
And all the people who had heart diseases, who had blood clots, all these people who had nothing, you were just sorry.
Yeah, the amount of case, let's say, in our lifetime, starting to think on a global scale, things that affect us collectively. Did you notice that there's more and more happening now than when maybe communication became now a easy way to get a certain point of view.
It's very
out-
curated for you. That's the word you're looking for.
And
Yeah.
also faster. So maybe sometimes I think because that's the case, we see this more now, as opposed to 30 years ago when there was no internet, and imagine there's no internet. Okay, like how would you find out about things that are happening globally?
But Habibi, 20 years ago, we would sit in Jalsa and we would have this exact same conversation.
True.
And we would be out in nature. We would breathe fresh air. Do you know that in your entire lifespan, the entirety of your lifespan, you spend about 90% of it indoors?
Indoors. So you're like in Mars.
Yeah. It's
Might
like
as well be.
It's like you're in a jail.
Yeah.
It's
Or you're on the moon. Like you can't even breathe.
Go out.
You have to stay indoors.
And I mean, look at your
Only
own.
the difference is 10%.
Look at your own children's lifestyles, and I mean,
Yeah.
how much
Yes.
of them is away from.
Totally,
بلادهم
100%, 100%, and that I can see that affecting their health. But what
you can do?
What can you do?
Exactly.
On top of all of this, I'm stuck at work. I can't do anything about it because I'm somewhere else.
And you can't exactly take them out of school and say we're going to homeschool them because that's
Exactly.
not possible.
It's not the trend.
It's not the trend. It's not feasible financially, and you're going to get in a lot of legal issues trying to accomplish that. And so you're stuck in a situation where you're putting kids with teachers who don't care.
Don't really want to teach.
You're putting them
Right.
with students who don't
wanna
know what's
learn.
going on at
And
home.
Yeah, totally.
And then you're wondering why your son or daughter has these bad habits and stuff like that when you have a normal household. But 60% of their time isn't with you guys, right?
It's thinking in this way that could make things work better for us, and we can spot the issues and find ways that could break through or to get around.
Habibi,
Get around the situation.
why do you think that most millionaires right now in the US are buying properties in Texas?
What?
Farmland, away
Because-
from larger groups of people. Most of them are homeschooling their children. If you have a little money in your pocket, you are not staying in
this community
No way.
The herd isn't working anymore.
Exactly.
When it's supposed to be the case. Like, we're supposed to be part of a community. We're supposed to actually want to live our lives together, but something is going wrong.
Well,
Yeah,
think بالحياتك انت when you were living with your parents and you knew the neighbors. You knew what they did. You know اسمهم. You had a connection.
Now there's not even.
I don't know who lives next to me.
next
No
door-
way.
Next door, right?
Yeah, it's strange.
I think in the end, you have to be intelligent enough to know what's
Happening,
what's good for you.
Yeah.
Right? I sometimes don't see that our lifestyle, you know, going out there on a constant basis, chasing after the money. Why?
But for what?
For what bills? What are we talking about here? You know.
So for things you don't want anyways. To
For things
impress
that
people, you don't need to impress.
people. And in the end, it's the trend. You know, you live your whole life based on a trend, and you just keep changing from one trend to another, and that costs you. And I'm being serious.
معك حق. I have a lot of my people who go and buy tables for 500 BD and then alcohol in a club and all this. And I think to myself, شوف, why? حقوش يعني
what's that? How's that gonna like
benefit you?
You're not even gonna remember this.
Exactly. وقاعد يقول لهم شوف يعني انت سوى فلوسكم الحين على this night and you say you had fun but in reality you didn't.
Well, anyway, let's say they had fun.
خلاص, even if you had fun.
But for how long you're gonna keep doing this? يعني even when it comes to you know your يعني being, you know.
بس 5000 ريال حق طاولة.
Settling down, you know, يعني let's say for example you are meant to be settled. Your psyche, your nature, people are not meant to be doing this.
عندك حق.
Right?
100%.
Maybe a few years, maybe even if it's like a whole decade.
25 maximum.
After that, so what makes us want to always make more money? For what? What changes? What's changing? يعني انت الحين even from my example, I have kids and there's education, there's cost behind that, there's certain trend, right? So they're almost graduating, and I'm continuing to think
Pump money,
that I need to pump more. Why? What does it mean? Why do I have to be making more money as opposed to settling down, being cool, being less aggressive? You know, health is not there to stay.
Yeah, it's a sign that runs out.
Exactly. So to survive, and I mean it, survive, and to be able to have a healthy long expectancy or longevity, you need to be cool, less stressed. You need to be able to enjoy the simple things. You need to be able to teach others. And guys, you don't have to not know things and be shocked and surprised by the way life is.
Yeah. You can learn by example.
There you go. People have done this before you. Why? Okay.
Sometimes it just doesn't click.
But still, if you are a responsible individual, you could show others the do's and don'ts. Okay. If you would be someone who puts impact or has impact in our lifetime, you would be one of those guys that would actually want to advise others the things that they should learn, instead of go through so much
pain
and learn. The best way to learn is to fail.
أقول لك قصة حبيبي. I know a guy, this is a few years back, good kid, but hung out with the wrong crowd. He liked the crowd, but whatever. One night, they go to pick up. One of his friends likes doing a lot of drugs. He said, okay, I'm going to go and pick up with you. I don't care. I don't touch this stuff. But yalla, أنا معاك. يلا, إحنا أصحاب. We're friends. So they go there to go pick up the drugs. His friend pulls out a knife and puts it at al-guba al-dealer.
Oh my God.
And his friend tells him, check his pockets, take and حطه وخباك. He was panicky, سوى. And حاش البيت, راح البيت, they both went together back home. And the guy with the knife, ضحك, said, oh, this is just normal, blah, 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 blah. He was like, oh, I'm not sure. 3-4 days later, the guy dealer, who they put the knife through his neck, came with his friends. And they went to their house and gave them a beatdown.
Wow.
They broke one of his legs.
Oh my God.
And he said, I remember seeing him in the hospital, and he said, I wish I listened to my mother and my father, and that even if you don't do anything wrong, when you hang out with that crowd, you get painted with the same brush.
But the good thing is,
he learned it though.
but imagine if he was not even told.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even have been warned. It would have been even a worse situation. For this, again, Anna, for me, my message would be learn
from the mistakes.
Learn, right? Financial freedom doesn't come
given
without and doesn't get taught. So, and this is the
crux of the issue.
Yeah, right. It's the main cycle of life, or circle of life, and you live and die on the dollar, right? And everybody is
running behind
in the system. It's like the matrix. But in the end, if you are learning early enough, as early as possible, and really get schooled, put $500.
Do whatever needs to be done.
Right?
Do it.
Millionaire.
Do it. I agree.
Put $500. This is the system. Diversify. Don't sit idle. Don't accept a job that doesn't move you, okay, or doesn't get you places, or connect you with, other
entrepreneurs, business, absolutely.
Right.
The fastest way to make money is to hang out with people who make money.
You learn from them, or they will give you
advice and teach you. Yeah.
In the end, I always encourage people, and if they don't get the schooling, I doubt they would, because we didn't learn it.
You have to teach yourself.
Yeah,
you the brackets.
The fact is, you need to be aware of where your buck stops. Does it stop with just this entertainment side of things? You just keep wasting your life away, and all of your
just sitting on the couch watching television, eating pizza,
and not doing anything, and nothing benefiting
anyone.
Yeah. Or do you want to be having a nice life that allows you to say, I did my part, and doing your part, it means a lot, because even your psyche would say to you, you can relax,
but you don't,
right?
But you don't.
How do you get rid of this anxiety? Waking up in the morning. You wake up in the morning and feel very anxious.
The feeling, I think we both maybe know it, is when تخاف كل شيء will go.
Yeah.
That's the, that.
Yeah.
And
shouldn't be the case. To be honest, okay, being hungry is important, but overthinking and freaking out all the time, that something's wrong.
It doesn't
there.
help you at all.
And something's wrong. Something is actually wrong there when you wake up in the morning and you feel this way. There's an imbalance.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Because
you're doing short-term decisions at cost of long-term success.
And at the same time, like you said, and you don't want anything to go wrong. It's life. It's
you don't have the delusion of control.
Delusion of control. Never.
I agree. Yeah.
You're in a
spiral.
You're on a rock that's hurtling through space.
I agree with that. But it's so hard, because the people of who they are today is so different. I have a lot of friends who are in their 30s, and especially girls. They're waking up to the fact that they're not going to be able to find a guy in their age group. Because if you're a 30-year-old
It's
guy,
challenging, yeah.
you're not dating a 30-year-old or 35-year-old girl. You're more likely going to be dating a 23-year-old or 25-year-old and get married to her. So a lot of these girls are just waking up to the fact of being like, my only options are divorced men, or being second wife or third wife, or that's about it.
So it's
هذا المشكلة. It doesn't click in their head يعني because they got sold a lie.
that's an epidemic because a lot of people in many different parts of the world are facing this, and it has a lot to do with, I think it has a lot to do with technology, you know, and being
too many options.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Being okay with the way things are because you have too many options. You're not sort of like, you know, restricting yourself to one person and realizing that, you know, this is the way that would be most settling. And I have to say, I built like, it's like literally pillars that I'm building on, and those pillars are like my relationship with my wife, you know, and it's basically like خلاص يعني I have everything I need. I am content and
secure, you're not worried.
Everything that I thought, everything that I wanted in life, it could be in a way, يعني, I don't know, يعني, sometimes I might think, I might want to think that way. I want myself, I want to be able to think that way. And you believe it, and you know that this is reality. But at the same time, I do genuinely know that. You know, I'm lucky. I count myself as super lucky. Then I see other people, and I see how, you know, some of my colleagues, some of my friends facing a lot of challenges, and I think to myself, like, how are they dealing with this?
How lucky did I become?
No, I don't need to deal with this.
Yeah.
You know? And they're dealing with it, and it's like, besides their job, you know, besides their career, besides everything they need to do, they also have to deal with this problem.
البيت.
Yeah. So then we go back to this community and culture, and we say, where did we go wrong? And we start thinking, maybe this is the trend, maybe this is the way. You know, it's 50% now divorce rate, right? So what the hell does that mean? It's a 50-50 chance? That doesn't make sense. It was never that way before. Or maybe, I don't know.
No, I think it's
gone worse.
It's got definitely worse, and I think it's because الحين قولوا يا جيل, I'm going to blame it on both parties, are not as invested anymore as to each other.
Maybe they can't be.
بس
maybe they can't, because of, you said choice, لا.
بالضبط, choice وبعد الستيغما. When حياة أبوك
very difficult,
grandfather,
yeah.
or even my father, grandfather,
it's a big no.
Yeah. وش صاب البيت؟
أحيان they're like, what? You know, like, or like,
are you unhappy? Get out.
خلاص, be happy.
This is not حياة.
What the hell, you know?
You put your, and you if you get married to somebody, this is commitment.
And it needs to be nurtured.
Exactly.
The idea is if we are a couple, and that, you know, life is a partnership. Yeah. Right? Yeah, you have a partner. And that partner needs to share everything with you. Share your thoughts, share your dreams, aspirations, future, family. And then imagine you don't have that. Okay? It's work in progress. يعني انت دائما you need to be thinking, do I fix this? Or do I not need to?
معك حق.
I can't be that self-oriented to say, to hell with this, I can do it myself. No. that's not the way. That's يعني the idea is إن it shouldn't be the way. You shouldn't think that way.
خليني أقول لك من جحية مني أنا from my view, this is so strange to me, is that the أنا الحمد لله worked, got my money, I'm good, I'm productive, I can do what the hell I want to do, and if I didn't want to do anything, I don't have to do anything.
صح.
And I've set up my finances that every fucking year I get my dividends.
There you go.
And I just reinvest it.
That's
and
it.
خلاص. If I want to do projects, I can do projects. If I want to do, and people hire me to do specific يعني case by case things, I can do.
كله plus.
كله plus.
أي.
So I'm not sitting here, alhamdulillah, my health is good, I have nothing. I have absolutely, Allah أعطاني more than enough.
Alhamdulillah.
And the weird thing is for me is that when أروح الديت أو أشخاص زي كذا مع الحريم, I think to myself, وش أنت تجيبني؟
Yeah.
يعني انت تبغاني اسوي فلوس عليك، اوكي ما في مشكله. اسوي فلوس عليك، تبغى ملابس، تبغى بيت، تبغى كذا، تبغى كذا، اوكي ما في مشكله. بس انت تجيني your expectations are يعني افضلك زي princess، ما تبغى تغسل البيت، ما تبغى تطبخ، ما تبغى
See, this is where the
يعني how
the balance gets skewed. يعني أنت تحتاج, and I hope that with the coming period, the whole equality situation with the jobs. I was very proud when now I'm traveling. I'm heading to Saudi more and back, and I see a lot of women working and having desk jobs, and you've got positions that are set up for them, which was never the case before. If that changes this situation to the better, I'm all for it. لأن you might get the women that are they're very much educated. They would realize it's a
give and take.
A give and take situation. It's not a take all the time, and they have to realize that the tables are turning. It used to be a male dominant culture.
صح.
Now they have to also put an effort.
بس خذ الحيم هنا who've traveled and ask them, because I have a lot. We've had almost 100 people now on the show, and mashallah, it's been a lot of work. And if you talk to these girls and say, what do you think of empowerment? What do you think of equality? They go, oh, حلو, والله كويس, blah, blah, blah. And you say, okay, you've been to Spain, you've been to Germany, you've been to UK. Do you like how you've been treated there? They say, no. I get touched bil club. People yell at me. People say...
I would prefer having my own culture the way that that treats me.
You can't have both ways, habibi, بالحياة. It's a give and take in everything.
So you need to realize that.
Opportunity cost. If you like being treated زي إنسان, and you like when you go to a club ولا واحد يمسكك,
this is a good place to call home.
Then you have to sacrifice other things.
صح.
If you want to go in the UK and you want to have be grabbed, واحد call you bitch وشغال زي كذا,
بعد you have to accept
then you have to accept that. يعني I know girls بال UK, they tell me يعني يروحون بالclub and they think it's normal that people يعني يمسكهم. I say this is
not normal.
Not هنا much.
What's wrong with you? Not normal for us. Yeah.
And she said, oh, this is just part of it.
No, it's not. It's not that we know.
No.
It becomes again. We went through a lot in this decade, this couple of decades now.
صح.
We went through a lot, and the fact that changes were inevitable puts more strain on the population to really realize the way to go is stability.
Absolutely.
Seeing people who are like majority divorcees is scary, man. And we were talking about it today at work, and we're like, what is going on? Why is this a trend? It became a trend. ما يبي الواحد لا وين the يعني it's
especially مع الkids عندك
exactly
3 kids أو شغال زي كذا, how do you manage? Then mom is with a different guy.
What happens to the kids? What happens to the kids?
Hey.
So I think there's a lot of
خطأ معك.
there's a lot of concern here. People need to be aware of this. I always think يعني الله يكون في العون يعني in the end whether these I fear for my kids in that generation would have come up from a time when this became a norm, and it's dangerous for it to be a norm. So the whole lifestyle of settling down, having your own setup, family, peacefully, right? Go part of the community and growing and being able to contribute. Not having that as a norm, having that as a privilege, I would say maybe. I keep thinking, and I'm lucky, la?
Absolutely, I agree. You are.
The previous generation is normal. How is it lucky now? Right? يعني our parents' generation, this is أكثر من طبيعي.
عمي 8 kids.
أكثر من طبيعي.
أكثر من طبيعي. وهم عايشون
بالبيت
نفس الشغلة.
A person not being married is a big weird taboo situation.
إيه وش صار معاه؟
وش صار معاه ولا معاها؟ this needs to be balanced out. And I think honestly, empowering, and I think maybe I could be wrong, I don't know, but empowering women is important here. لأن يصير إنه they realize إن لا ترى يعني I have to realize إن أنا قوتي صايرة على مستوى الرجل، وإن أنا I can contribute and I can be part of this culture, this type of lifestyle وكذا وهاي. This makes a lot of sense to me.
أنا أعرف حيم, believe it or not, husband and wife working full time. She said to me, my husband's money is our money, my money is my money.
Also
أنا أقول كيف ذا؟
Also يعني there is يعني there's a time I would say إنه the balance was not there yet. It's يعني ترى wide it escalated at this stage. يعني in this past 15 years, 10-15 years, a lot of things happened that gave power to the other side. بس هاي كان الكلام اللي أنا أذكر in my first stage
series, yeah.
إنه yes, your money is your money. You can do whatever you want because I'm the breadwinner. As said, I'm the breadwinner, and my money is the family's money because I don't care. أنا ما عندي شيء حقي أنا. It's all for the family. But seeing this trend to become more, and it could be the guy, the man of the house, بيصير هو عنده مصاريفه بروحه.
صح.
يعني عنده his own thing, عنده his own يعني sort of like mini kind of life that he can lead on his own, but also puts another half maybe towards the family. And this wife has the same thing. So it's no longer the wife says it.
هذا مش relationship خلاص. هذا يعني what's this? This is a partnership.
It's an arrangement. It's a partner. But هو I would not really be opposing too much to it. لأنه في النهاية it does have merit. لأن you can actually say I have a little bit of a shoulder to lean on, a little bit.
تعرف حبيبي الإماراتيين, I know, especially the younger generation, in their early 20s, they're marrying 2-3 wives.
Yeah.
Sometimes up to 4.
Yeah.
And they're going backwards. Not backwards. Yeah. I think they're going back into traditionalism.
This traditional way, yeah.
The traditional way. And they said, I spoke to a few of them and said, listen, if I only had one wife, I would cheat on her.
Yep.
Now I have multiple. I don't cheat. They all live in one household. I'm very happy. الحكومة, if you married more, they give a little extra.
Support you more.
Support you. Said life is حلو. we have a big family. أنا والله متاح. والله متاح. And he said when he had his first wife, first 2-3 years, a lot of fighting. He said after the second was a little difficult, the third خلاص فتح. Now easy حياة. ما في هوشة بالهوس ولا شيء ولا شيء ولا شيء. They've been now married for he's been married now in total almost 20 years, almost 5-6 years. He said,
look, in the end there are many scenarios that differ from culture to culture, place to place, and even when it comes to the same setting, the person can have a certain way that they would become. But if it's something that is a trend that everybody does, this thing about the divorce, okay, that's when it starts to feel like there's something
not
off,
right.
Something off here. Anna, for example, I know a gentleman younger than me who is married to 3. Alhamdulillah, Allah ata. He has wealth. He's a very focused businessman, able to support his family and then some. And his ideology is just like you said. The setup is correct. He managed it well. It's not for the faint-hearted, It's not easy, tara, for, I'm sure, 100%.
You have to be real. We have to be very strong.
You have to be strong. You have to be able to تنصف. You have to be able to,
ما تقدر تخليهم يلعبون على راسك.
And provide. The biggest thing. They always keep telling me, if you make more money, marry another. I'm like, are you crazy? But there is this mentality. You're super rich, have more kids, have more wives.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
وبنون, right? مال وبنون. The idea is it's there. Whether you like to practice it or not, that's up to your way of thinking.
The Emirati guy I know who told me it was a security guard.
could be
he's loving it.
Wealth, but in a way that is
maybe property
is organized
or something
or
like that.
being organized.
صح. But he works a full-time job.
Being organized. Hello.
But he's doing well. This is the thing I find more in this, in the Middle East than I find just in the GCC than I find in the West. If you date a girl bil UK, there's never this topic of if you go out clubbing أو شغال, you go مع بعض.
صح.
هنا for whatever weird reason الحين will go I want to have a girl night a club. أقول مرة بالشهر خلاص. I trust you. بس كل أسبوع مرتين بالأسبوع no way.
Yeah.
Do your own life then. If this is حياتك وانت تبغى تعيشه وتقولني oh I'm only 25 I want to live my life خلاص روح عيش حياتك. I'm not gonna wait يلا bye.
Again, this situation makes people think really more about how it makes people think more in terms of what's right and wrong, and what do you really want to be doing. You don't want to be doing something that's wrong.
تنتظر على زوجك يرجع الساعة 3 بالصباح.
So
no way.
If you can find any way that would influence the mindset into doing the right thing, and like you said, there's a certain timeline that this can be experienced, or it could be a way of life. 20s, okay, any mid 20s to late 20s وخلاص. Maybe a little bit from beginning of 30, but after that خلاص تمسخ السالفة.
حق لي جيل مختلف من الحين.
بالضبط.
مختلف. ما تقدر تقولي مع 25 حومة باقي كلابينج وشغال زي كذا.
صح.
If this is your work خلاص هذا شغل.
يختلف.
هذا مختلف.
بالضبط. But I think generally you need to be able to influence your partner. يعني you can
لازم
you
في
can do it.
respect بعد على
ولا
الثنتين.
respect. You can do it. You can إذا عندك أنت partners في الشغل business wise.
لا
Is it?
الحالي.
Let's say
yeah.
let's say you have you influence you can go in one direction, you can go in another direction, but in order to do that
They have to be agreement.
there have to be agreement. Is it? أنا إذا اخترت إن أنا عندي partner I can't just disagree and be gruntled or just
say yes and then
or
be
say
upset.
yes and be upset لا لازم يا أنا أكون مقتنع
صح
أو أقنع.
صح.
So it's a two-way
صح.
thing. This is how I see relationships being maintained in this difficult world, difficult life. And it is قناعة. We have to be convinced. We have to be convinced as to who we are with and what we are doing and how we are living our lives. You have to be convinced.
صح.
If you're just a little bit feeling like this is not me,
ما يوصل.
ما فايدة.
عندك صح. عندك حق. عندك حق.
And I think a lot of people also made the mistake in this generation
To marry for love.
to marry for love and do it early. يعني they did it so early and afterwards they started to realize إنه والله I need to explore. I need to be able to explore.
But that's also, this is again comes back to the problem, right? If you hang out with people who are like that, you're going to end up like that.
صح.
If you're hanging out with if your wife is hanging out with girls زي كذا who يسوون مشاكل, then she will make مشاكل. She'll want to fit in. نفس الشيء معك أنت. If you want to hang out with guys who do drugs, you will be tied with it.
You will be.
Wow.
Regardless of whether you want to or not. Imagine. And then this is the peer pressure situation.
بالضبط.
Which is then comes to the kids and what they face, and then realizing wow, I actually face this right now. Just talking about bullying the other day. Do you know that there's bullying on a corporate level?
طبعا there's every level. When a طبيب bullies you,
life, in every stage of your life, there's this bullying situation.
Always someone is not going to like you.
Someone's not going to like you, and they're going to want to be difficult, and they're going to want to be making your life difficult, and then you're going to need to figure out how to deal with that. So it doesn't stop in just at school.
صح.
And having to be able to survive and make it in this world, you have to be able to
You have to have thick skin.
Exactly.
Look at your own life. I think about the amount of bosses you had who were a superior or supervisor when you're starting off who didn't like you because you were either too successful or they thought you were bad or they thought you were this. This happens everywhere. Especially when you're the أسوأ شيء is طبعا is if you're stick out in a sense of if you do better than the rest of the team, it then makes the boss look at you and go, he wants to have my position.
Look, I think the idea that people have to fight their way through at work is true. They have to be aggressive. They have to be, of course, they have to be able to work with others, but at the same time, they have to be selfish in getting results. They don't let the matter go into somebody else's hands. They have to be able to say, I did this. I did this. Okay? Because at the end of the day, your remuneration and
your contribution
is reflected by this. No matter how nice a person is, they have to. This is another thing that I always wanted to teach. And look, I'm a nice guy. Okay, I've always been known. Everybody used to tell me like I can't even hurt a fly, or I'm always polite. I always smile. I always make sure that people around me don't feel any awkwardness or anything. It's always a nice, pleasant way that I like to have with people. I was raised this way. I don't know where it came from, but this is the way I am. When it comes to competition, I'm
switch.
I become blind. I literally start thinking I gotta be the best. Like I have
to kill.
I have to be. If I'm not, I'll be miserable, and I don't want to be miserable. So I have to find a way to get on top again.
I like it.
Okay?
This is the good philosophy.
And sometimes people tell me, "Wow, like I really like the competition in you. The beast comes out all of a sudden." I'm like, yeah, but like I don't really like it that much. But it's the way I'm built. I always want to run the extra mile. I always want to be 1 second faster. I always want to try to surprise,
improve,
and be like. And and the second I feel that I can't, I'm out. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
The second I feel I'm out of breath and I can't, I'm out of the game. This is something people might realize and recognize in them. I recognized it way too late. But there's still opportunity for me. I always think of it in this is, am I thinking of it towards the end of my career? And now I'm competitive?
Not your end, حبيبي. You've got another 50 years in front of you. وش قاعد تقول؟
I know. لا, but I'm thinking in the best time that you could actually spend is in your 30s. That's like really like peak. And I can feel it. Then the 20s, you don't know what the hell is going on.
وتخاف. You're worried. وجهك you don't want to fail. وممكن ناس يقول كذا. The 30
you've already had a decade of facing this.
Yeah.
After that, it's just, it feels, to me, والله, like it has felt like it's downhill. I don't know what it is. It could be the fact that when I turned 40, a lot of weird things happened.
إن شاء الله صحة okay.
لا بالعالم. Yeah. But I mean in terms of like what the hell did we just see 2 years like in the making,
Yeah.
What was that? We were confined to isolation,
وبعد خاف تشوف.
What's the saying? And this can't come back again and again, and then war, and okay, I don't want to be negative, but I feel like things just.
Spending 2 years with your children, realizing I don't know, I don't know them that well.
I don't even know them, but like global warming, islands disappearing,
Job
pollution, security, lots of things. You try to think, okay, I'm not gonna be overthinking. I'm gonna think not to overthink.
I like it.
It's tough. You can't do it. You have to figure out a way around it. You have to. You can still think, but maybe not to the extent that you're repeating what you're thinking. That makes you overthink. When I say to myself, I want to invest, and I'm an overthinker when it comes to investing, do you think I'm going to invest? I probably might end up being scared to do anything because I'm overthinking it. If I'm overthinking going to the gym, it's that notion, and you don't want to put your feet forward. You feel like
You're worried about the consequences of not liking what
are the consequences? What kind of are they? You know, are they all bad? You know, are they?
Habibi, let me tell you something. You know that brokers don't invest their own money. Brokers give their money to other brokers to invest.
True.
Because it's very different than feeling when you're managing someone's money and when it's your own money.
True, absolutely true.
And so the ability of being very neutral and very calm cannot happen when it's something of your
own personal vested interest into something.
That's why you good brokers usually give their own personal assets and money to manage it by other brokers that they're very familiar with the industry, and they take a backward step and they just manage clientele. Yeah. You know, that's the truth about that.
It has a lot to do with I don't want to say being mentally prepared or not, but
you can make more calm decisions.
Yes.
Because if it's a client, you know, even if you lose money, you lose maybe you lose the contract, you feel bad, it happens. You move on with your life. But when it's haggikint, then it never ends.
It's just strange scenario.
And you will make decisions
based
on fear.
Yes.
Rather than rationality. And that's the big key component. Habib Ahmed, before we have only 4 minutes left, I think, on the recording format. How will people find you?
I'm mostly on Instagram. I'm mostly on Instagram. I try to mix up a little bit between personal and work stuff. I'm on all the main channels, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Do you want people to contact you, or you prefer not to?
I'm always open. Like I said, like I'm always up for going through different things that people might be interested in having to know more about, and just basically I'm there. I'll try to always be there.
So for our audio components of here, if you are looking for potential property, if you have a property, if you're looking to sell a property, buy a property, Ahmed is the man to reach out. We've had a few guests on the show, and I would tell you that Ahmed has been honestly one of my favorites, without a doubt.
Thank you. That's an honor.
I can tell you, inshallah, the next time you come on, you'll be my favorite guest.
Inshallah, and I'll continue to.
You'll be the number one then,
inshallah,
as competitive as you are. And yeah, if you've got a property, you operate mostly in Bahrain or also Saudi and GCC?
We're in 5 continents.
Sure.
So we're like all over, but we mainly are focused on 2 major developments. One in Bahrain, Bahrain Harbor, right next door, and we do have a really awesome development in Dubai, just on the Hamad bin Zayed highway, and right by the Global Village and IMG. It's called California Village. Very interesting development, both villas, townhouses, and soon to be a complex of apartments available. So we do have a lot of options to go for, and investment, just like you said. There's times when you can, consider, buy and hold, and there's a time when you can consider flipping. But
especially from corporate perspective, they must be fantastic investments.
Absolutely.
In this region, I can honestly imagine it, and I'll make sure that the team puts together an edited version for you that is very marketing friendly for you.
Oriented, marketing savvy,
and not so doom and gloom.
I really hope we didn't have that kind of overall feel, but it's important to lay it out how it is, and you try to put
investors aren't idiots.
Exactly. They know what's sugar coated and what.
Especially if you're talking about the big dogs, they usually use Goldman Sachs or McKinsey. They've got the context necessary. They know exactly what's happening in the industry.
Absolutely.
There's no hiding that. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Yeah. You look at me confused.
No, I think thinking about how things are now compared to pre-pandemic, it's a very different market very different markets.
Why are you here in Bahrain حبيبي مع عائلتك؟
Um,
طيب الفاميلي's here
Yeah.
وشغال فهمت بس if you got projects in Dubai and Saudi, doesn't it make more sense to be on location?
could be. It's a very, 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 very interesting question.